asked this question. It was innocuous, meant with no ill will or malice. I was 6. In the yard of my grade school in Scarborough, just before the starting bell of the day, my best friend and I were lining up to go into school. I don't know how we got on the subject, but I asked him where he was from. He told me his father was American, but that he didn't see him very often, and beyond that, he didn't know where he was from. And then he asked me where I was from. And I said, I'm from here, Canada, but I'm Filipino. And he turned to me with all the innocence in the world and asked, what's a Filipino? I didn't know it then, but this question would follow me into my 30s. What's a Filipino? Look, I don't have an answer that could be cut and pasted to fit everyone else's definition, because what I've learned about being Filipino is that defining it is a practice in factioning and fractioning. And spoiler alert, it shouldn't be. Where were you born? Do you speak the language? Do you know the tribe your family descended from? What islands do your parents come from? What dialect did they speak? Are you full Filipino or are you mixed? Lamson. That's not a Filipino last name, is it? Many times throughout my life, I've come up against these questions, and the implication that because I am X, Y, Z, because I don't do this, that, or the other thing, that I am less of a Filipino. And these questions come from Filipinos in my life, older Filipinos, Filipinos I respect. And it goes the other way too, with comments like, your nose is so pango. Why is your skin so dark? Your mother lets you play in the sun too much. And your accent is so wrong when you try to speak Tagalog. It's like, do you want me to be Filipino? Do you not want me to be Filipino? Which is it? I don't blame the previous generation for this because blame gets us nowhere. I also don't blame them because I'm aware that there is an insidious, covert colonial mentality that exists within the id of our culture. I caution the elders to choose their words to the generations that come after them, that their words and their importance in the lives of these Philippine exes come with a duty to protect, not reject. The world is divisive enough, and with attitudes such as these, only serves to turn the young off from our culture. It causes them to question their identity. It makes them feel as though they don't belong, and it forces some of them out. We are stronger in numbers, but stronger in unity. And we are richer in experience if we don't focus on the fractions or don't look at the unchecked boxes. I understand that the intention is not to segregate our young from their birthright, which is a heritage and culture rich with folklore and history. But I'm telling you, I'm warning you, if this mentality continues, if the actions of questioning our young as to their Filipino-ness continue, this will be the result. And furthermore, our culture lives on in them. If we cut them down, if we cut them off, our heritage dies with them. To the generation following mine, I am protective of you. I come with a message. I've felt what you felt, being born of two cultures, the Canadian identity and my Filipino heritage, but feeling as if I belong to neither. Called white when I'm acting counter to my Filipino roots, labeled ethnic in writing circles. I have always been the other when it suited those judging me. Within the company of extended family, a place that I should have felt safe, the idea of not Filipino enough was able to breach the garrison. Luckily for me, I was raised with an undertone of, you are Filipino first in my home. I had to learn for myself what being Filipino means to me, both in the value of retaining an active interest in my heritage and in the content of my answer to the question, what's a Filipino? It was an act of discovery, research, self-evaluation, and soul-searching. For the young, you have to understand that when our family members come at you with these things, it's your decision on how to interpret it. You can take it as fact and lie down, or you can take it as challenge. One of our cultural practices, one that is mired in history and lost to formal identification, is the right of incorporation. It's the idea that one must earn a place within an established group. Back in the day, soon-to-be brides were berated and their mettle tested by their future sisters and mothers-in-laws to see if they had the fortitude of character to belong to the family they were marrying into. If you forfeit your birthright, those indictments of less become fact. Your roots are your superpowers. Don't cut yourself from them because others feel they can weigh you against what their understanding of what being Filipino is. If I did that, if I allowed my stray comments to affect who I am, I wouldn't have felt that I had the right to write my book. I wouldn't have been afforded the opportunities that this blue book has given me. I would be less, and I wouldn't be here. For those of you struggling with your identity, I want you to remember one thing. Filipino is in the heart and not the tongue. To the younger gen of Filipinxs, you are as much Filipino as I am. Mabuhay.